A few major signals collided over the past 2 weeks. Anthropic, quietly until now the most reserved of the major LLM companies on commerce, published the results of its first internal experiment in agent-to-agent negotiation. A major global payment network launched an Agentic Ready program across 10 Asia-Pacific markets with over 50 partner banks. BigCommerce announced a deep PayPal integration designed to push merchant catalogs into AI shopping surfaces. And Google Cloud Next 2026 made it clear that UCP and AP2 are no longer slideware. They are being wired into production retail workflows. The merchant side of agentic commerce is waking up. Here's what you need to know. This week's move from discovery to transaction, and from one agent to two. For most of the past year, the agentic commerce conversation has been one-sided. AI agents acting on behalf of consumers, navigating merchant infrastructure built for humans. The past 2 weeks suggested that the next phase will look different. Anthropic's Project Deal, published April 24th, was a small experiment with outsized implications. 69 Anthropic employees in San Francisco used Claude-powered agents to buy and sell items in a closed marketplace. Agent-to-agent negotiation, no human haggling, real transactions. The fairness rating averaged a 4 out of 7, suggesting neither side felt cheated. Modest results, but the signal is clear. Anthropic is testing what happens when both buyer and seller are AI. That matters because every major LLM platform is now publicly positioning for commerce. Toward Shopify integrations and ChatGPT apps. OpenAI has pivoted. Google is embedding UCP into Merchant Center. And until now, the quiet outlier is showing its hand. Anthropic. Real agentic payments begin when the AI is the counterparty. The actual test for programmable rails isn't whether an agent can pay, it's whether it can do things no human-facing rail allows. Christian Catalini. Meanwhile, the merchant infrastructure layer made several concrete moves. A major payment network's Agentic Ready program launched April 30th across Australia, Hong Kong, Japan, Malaysia, New Zealand, Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, and Vietnam, with more than 50 partners enrolled. The program focuses on issuer readiness, helping banks test, validate, and prepare for agent-initiated transactions in production-grade environments before they go fully live. The signal matters more than the brand. The largest networks in the world are now actively preparing their issuer ecosystems for autonomous transactions. BigCommerce plus PayPal StoreSync announced April 29th. The integration lets BigCommerce merchants instantly connect their product catalogs, inventory, and order management to AI shopping surfaces, including Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Perplexity, to be invisible to AI discovery. Microsoft expanded Copilot checkout with deeper UCP integration in Catalog Connection, ChatGPT, PayPal, and Stripe. The framing was telling. Merchants can no longer afford Google Merchant Center, a Shopify target account linking, and retail offer highlights, moving from pilot demos to production-grade merchant tooling. Thyris perspective. Agent legibility just became table stakes. In our first issue, we introduced the concept of agent legibility, the idea that being readable to AI agents would soon become a competitive necessity for merchants. The past 2 weeks made that idea concrete. When BigCommerce announces that catalog sync to AI surfaces is now a core feature, when major payment networks convene 50-plus banks to prepare for agent-initiated payments, when Microsoft moves Copilot checkout into production merchant tooling, these aren't future tense announcements. They are signals that the merchant-side infrastructure is being built right now, and the merchants who haven't started preparing are already behind. The shift is fundamentally a discovery shift. For 2 decades, e-commerce optimization meant SEO, search rankings, category navigation, and on-site conversion. In an agentic era, those layers still matter, but they sit beneath a new layer: how an AI agent perceives, evaluates, and recommends your product when a human asks, "Find me everything I need for a week-long hike in the Cotswolds." Intent data and conversational discovery. Traditional clickstream data tells you what a customer searched for. Conversational queries tell you what they actually need. One question, "Find me a suitable outfit for a wedding in Jakarta," contains more contextual richness than months of keyword history. Occasion, location, climate, formality, even cultural sensitivity. Merchants who capture, structure, and use this intent data will have a meaningful advantage in agent-mediated commerce. Most CRMs today aren't designed to capture it. There's a second-order implication that deserves attention. Anthropic's Project Deal, agent-to-agent negotiation in a closed marketplace, points to a future where commerce isn't just AI-mediated, it's AI bilateral. Both sides of the transaction may eventually be running on AI infrastructure. That changes the design assumptions for every layer above the protocol: fraud detection, dispute resolution, customer support, even pricing strategy. The companies preparing for that world are not the ones with the flashiest agent demos. They are the ones quietly investing in the data quality, integration depth, and trust infrastructure that makes agent-to-agent commerce viable at scale. What Thyris.AI is building: helping enterprises become legible and credible to AI agents. The past 2 weeks reinforce something we've been building toward from the start. Enterprise organizations need infrastructure that lets them participate fully in agentic commerce without surrendering control of their customer data, their compliance posture, or their core operations. 3 areas of focus, all relevant to recent news. Agent-ready merchant infrastructure. Our merchant service layer transforms product catalogs into structured, agent-discoverable formats that work across multiple AI surfaces. Standardized data. No integration overhead, no per-channel rework. Conversational intent capture. Agentic discovery generates a new class of customer data that traditional CRMs miss. Our orchestration layer captures intent signals from agent interactions and feeds them back into hyper-personalization and campaign workflows. On-premise and hybrid deployment for regulated industries. For banks, insurers, and other compliance-sensitive enterprises preparing for agent-initiated transactions, data sovereignty is non-negotiable. Our deployment model keeps sensitive data inside the organization's perimeter while still enabling agentic capabilities. Being legible to agents is now baseline. Being trusted by them is the differentiator. Agent-ready catalogs. Structured product data optimized for AI surface distribution. Intent signal capture. Conversational query data feeding personalization and campaigns. On-premise and hybrid. Full data sovereignty for regulated, compliance-sensitive. What to do now? 3 priorities for the next 2 weeks. 1. Audit your AI surface presence. Open ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, and Perplexity. Ask each one to recommend a product or service in your category. What appears? What doesn't? Where do you rank? This is your new competitive intelligence baseline, and most organizations have never run this exercise. Run it before the next issue. 2. Reevaluate your product data strategy. GEO signals, product usage, target audience, contextual fit are emerging as the new metadata standard for agent discoverability. Traditional product attributes, SKU, color, size, aren't enough. Audit your enriched data layer and identify which intent signals you're capturing today and which you're missing. 3. Treat agent-to-agent commerce as a planning horizon, not a thought experiment. Anthropic's project deal is small, but the trajectory is unambiguous. Within the next 24 to 36 months, scenarios where both buyer and seller are AI agents will move from research papers to production pilots. If your operating model assumes a human is always on one side of the transaction, that assumption will need to be revisited, and the planning starts now. Until next time. 3 issues in, a pattern is becoming visible. The Agentic commerce story isn't a single big announcement. It's a steady accumulation of small ones. A protocol launch here, a merchant integration there, a research paper that hints at what's coming next. Individually, none of them feel like the moment everything changes. Collectively, they are exactly that moment. The companies that will define the next decade of commerce aren't waiting for a single signal that says, "Now is the time." They are reading the accumulation, recognizing the pattern, and moving while the infrastructure is still being shaped. That's the work, and it doesn't slow down. Coming next, publish every other Wednesday. Next issue drops Wednesday, May 20th. We'll be covering Consensus 2026 from Miami, where X402, MPP, and the broader question of crypto-native agentic payment rails will be center stage. Plus, a closer look at the regulatory questions that aren't getting enough attention.